chart, it's day 6. We're looking at break and retest to the structure and trend line break and retest. So that means we've done like pretty solid 6 topics already. If you're following the series, you're a real one, and nothing much, you're just learning. All right, the statistics shows that 90% of you that following this series are actually not subscribed to the channel, and that is not nice, right? Like, why have you not subscribed yet? It literally costs $0 to subscribe. So go ahead and subscribe now. Subscribe and come back to this video before we start. I'm gonna wait for you. So go ahead, smash the subscribe button, then come back to the video. That being said, let's get right into today's topic. So we are treating break and retest today, and on this topic I'll be focusing on structure and trend line break and retest, because that's what I trade in the system. Remember, you can't just jump to a particular video and understand it. You have to follow the previous classes that we've done. If you've not watched the videos, starting from the very first class, which is on trends, then to structure, then to time frame correlation, then I think the last video was on Fibonacci, how I make use of the Fibonacci retracement to actually know where my correction is going to end and where I'm target. Today is break and retest, and how I actually fit all of this into the system, like putting everything all together and having a system from it, or knowing how the market actually works, how I can properly position myself in the market with all of these that I'm teaching or putting out here for you guys, right? Break and retest, and break and retest is basically market breaking a specific level, then comes back to retest it and moving. Right now, this can happen in 2 ways. We have like structure break and retest, and we have trend line break and retest. For structure break and retest, more like market breaking a very significant level or structure, just like I've already said here, right? This is an example of structure break and retest, market breaking a significant resistance level or a significant support level, then comes back to retest it, then continues in the dominating trend direction, right? Whereas for trend line, we have something like this, where a market price forms some sort of trend, then after some time of maintaining that particular trend, price goes above and break whatever line you can draw from the trend, right? Once price breaks it, retest it, and boom, it moves. So something like this. So let's say this is a trend, because we're like obviously printing lower prices here. Price is just coming down, making a series of lower highs and lower lows, right? Until here, you can see this actually maintain the line, which is the trend line here. So as soon as price broke and came above that line, we retested the line again, and that was where the continuation started. So it's pretty much easy. You don't have to like complicate it. Like I said, structure is market breaking is significant structure levels like support and resistance levels, or demand and supply levels, or even other blocks, right? Market can invalidate other blocks, come back to retest them. So this was, let's say this is another block market was supposed to buy from here. Market can do something like this, invalidate this other block, retest it, and continue. Now this is what they call breaker block, right? This is like a breaker block and a failed order block. This other block was supposed to hold price, but didn't hold price. Price invalidated the order block and used it as a bullish order block is now serving as a bearish order block, because price has already invalidated it. You get me? So that's basically what this is all about, right? So we'll be diving deep into how this works in real time, and we'll be looking at some examples, looking out for some examples on the chart, right? So break and retest. And before I move to showing you guys examples on the chart, I want to state few rules that actually governs this, right? Now for the trend line break, you have to start with where the trend started, or where the structure started, and connect the first 2 highs. All right, let's say we'll have something like this. Let's say we'll have a structure like this. This is a downtrend, right? Because it might not be clean or appear the way you would want it to like appear. So structure might not be clean sometimes. You just have to follow these rules so you don't miss or mark the wrong trend line, because marking the wrong trend line can actually lead you to calling fake outs, breakouts. Right? Market might not like have like broken out of the trend line yet, but because you marked the trend line wrongly, you think it's a breakout and you jump in, and that's how you get stopped out. So I'm going to teach you how to mark a proper trend line, right? Now, for you following this rule, now the first rule, right? For you to mark a proper trend line, you start from the start of the trend, all right? Then you connect the first two lines, right? That makes up the trend. Remember, market must break structure twice in a particular direction to confirm a trend, which means if we have structure like this, a market breaks structure, all right, so and comes back, pulls back again, give us a correction and break structure again, this is a confirmation that whatever trend we were in previously has now switched to a new trend, right? And we're bringing that same logic to here, right? So since we need two of these breaks to confirm an actual trend, so we also need to connect two of the lows that was made to form a trend line. So if we have something like this, for us to draw this trend line properly, we have to connect the first low where the trend started and the second that was made. Now we'll have to, once we connect the first two lows, then we'll have to draw this line just straight that way, right? So whatever happens, why the price is being printed is none of our business, because sometimes price could just come very close to the trend line without touching it and moves up, all right? So that does not mean you should start tweaking the trend line or trying to make everything join. So just connect the two lines and draw it straight, so wherever it stops, all right? So all you have to do is wait for price to come to that line and bounce off, all right? So you actually confirm the change of the trend when price stops bouncing off the line and eventually breaks it, right? So that's when you confirm that, oh, this particular trend is over and we'll have to switch to a new trend, right? So now same thing applies. This is for uptrend, same thing applies to downtrend. Let's say we have to mark trend line for this particular trend, right? So this is what I'm going to do. Start from the first high here, it connects it to the second one, then draw straight. You can see with this we connected the first high and the second high, which establishes this downtrend, because we have the first break here and the second break of structure. Remember, we have an impulse, correction, impulse again, correction. So these two breaks already established that this trend is going downwards, right? Now we've connected the two highs that was printed while this downtrend was is being created. Now we have to draw it straight to the downside, right? And you can see that price came here, touched that same trend line, dropped, right? Dropped. Price came here again, dropped. Look at this. Price came here. This was like it was supposed to stop here, but somehow came here and dropped again. So this is where most people get it wrong, because price might do something like this and you would think it's a breakout and it's not. Then price will just continue moving down. So before price would even break any trend line, there's some structures that you see that would, kind of give you the confirmation that, oh, this is about to break. All right. I mean, structure should form before the break occurs. All right. So we're going to see that in real time. And there's some, like I said, the rule number one, you connect the two lines. And the second rule I want to state here is something I call liquidity, right? Now, we're going to treat liquidity as a separate topic, but I want to put something out here first. If price is moving this way, like we have some sort of trend line this way, anytime we break this trend line, right, and retest it, all of these highs becomes weak areas that price is going to take out. These highs that created a trend line, they become weak areas that price is going to come take out. So I want you to take note of that. So you can see all of these fake outs can happen, like price going above the trend line then still dropping. So this is like price going above the trend line, then wicks it, then closes below it. So this is why you need to wait for confirmation and not just, putting your whole entry strategy on price going above that line, because price could go above the line and still come and close below it. So you have to make your confirmation or confirm a proper break from a body closure above the trend line. So if, like, for instance, here you can see this was where the point price broke, and from here you can see we had a proper body closure above this trend line. That is to confirm that we've actually invalidated this trend line, is no longer going to hold, right? You can see all of this. This is like price moving above the trend line, taking out liquidities, then coming down to close above it, to close below it rather. All right, so you have to be careful. It is kind of tricky, but it's something that, yeah, with proper knowledge of structure, you would be able to, you know what to do. All right, so let's go to the ray chart and see what we have. So this is a gold chart, and this is on the let me go to the daily time frame. This is the daily time frame, right? This is the daily time frame. I think we'll have an example on a recent structure. We'll have an example on a recent structure, and I'm going to use that. So this is the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, you can see that price had this impulse, huge impulse, then we had a correction, another impulse. This is a correction. Now this correction came to mitigate a key level, and now we've dropped, right? So we're supposed to make a new low, just like, see, look at this. After we made this impulse, this was a high, this was the impulse we made, price corrected, made a lower high, then we came down to break here. Although this was not entirely a break on the daily time frame, this was actually a sweep. So this will tell you that price is actually refusing to go lower, and this might actually lead to prices going higher, right? And that was exactly what we had there. We made a higher low. So technically price was supposed to come below this, right? But look at what we do. We found a key level here. We found this key level here. So price is respecting this key level here. You can see we came at that key level here that will have multiple weak rejection, all right, as a place of resistance. Price has now turned that same area as what support. You can see this particular region is actually a key level because price has reacted off of it previously, right? So price has now come there now, and that's why we're getting this upward reaction. So price has made a new higher low. So this high now becomes our next target price. So once price goes up now to break this high, so what would market be looking at? So we'll be looking at to make a new higher low again, take it up again, make a new higher low, take it up again. See, we finally break these and these highs, right? So let's go back. We're not going to see the trend line properly, so we're going to see I want to show you guys the trend line because we're starting with trend line. So let's go to the 1-hour time frame. So the 1-hour time frame, you can see here we have let me clean all of this. So we'll have a clear uptrend here. Our market has given us a huge correction. So this is more like we have this, market made this, then we'll have this that broke structure here. The market has corrected, gave us a higher low here. So this becomes our next target. So you get the logic now, and if you watch the previous videos, you already know that market moves in 3 phases. We'll have impulse, correction, and a continuation, right? So that's exactly what is happening here right now. So we've this is a correction, and this is like a downtrend. All right, we had this downtrend. So this downtrend is actually forming a trend line. If we should mark from here, connect the first two lines, you'd see that this was the first level we tapped into. We tapped into this other block, and this was where market broke it. Now, but you have to notice something. Why did this here not hold? Because we had several fake outs, market coming above that line. Even here, we came above that line, but we still went down to close below it. See, price finally came here. Now, if you're trading trend lines, you don't have to trade it blindly. You also have to trade it with structure. That's why I said structure and trend line, break and retest is with structure and trend line. You have to pay attention to structure as well. Now let's look at this structure here, how structure played out and why this trend line did not work. We had a high here. Remember, this was a low. So market made an impulse, made a new low, gave us correction, made a lower high, then made another impulse to this zone, right? Breaking structure. Now we made a correction, then price came here, made a new low here. But look at this low. This was a sweep. It wasn't actually a break, right? Then we tried to make a correction. Price did not actually correct. So this was still like the same leg. So this was where we made that new low, right? Now market made a correction. Look at, if you check, this correction was actually still under this level because we keep having lower highs, lower high, lower high, lower high. And the only time we can confirm proper structure change is when price has gone above like a structure high. We're having something like this, then price goes above a structure high. So that's only when we confirm structure. So if you're marking your trend line, trading trend line, you have to properly align in with structure for you to get the best result, right? So exactly what happened there. Yeah, we kind of broke out of the trend line. This was still in the same range. You can see if we were to mark all of this was the correction we had, and this was where we had a new low. So our high here hasn't still been invalidated, right? So all of this was just internal structures, and market did not break any of these structures to show that we are. So this is more like we had that correction, a new impulse, a new correction, and price continues. So that was why this did not hold, right? So now look at this here. If we were to connect these two highs from this trend, so the trend continued from here. We made this low, broke structure, here, 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 right? Price went above here, came down. This was actually a sweep, price taking liquidity. So once I am teaching liquidity, we're actually going to like understand this better. So you see, price had like three touches, 1, 2, 3. Then this was where we finally broke above this. You can see right here, this is a perfect break because we broke above the trend line and we closed it. All right. So if I'm to trade this now, what am I going to do? Wait for a retest. Is either I'm waiting for a retest of the trend line. All right. A retest of this trend line here. Price will retest, come down, retest the trend line, and continue up, or I wait for a retest of structure. Look at, we'll have a structure here. This is also a key level. You can see how price has reacted off of that level several times. So it might be price retesting the trend line and structure at the same time. So this is a very strong level for me. This is actually a current price action on gold. So you can see how my breakdown is on this. So incorporating everything, market moves in three phases, right? We'll have like impulse, right? Then we'll have correction. Now this correction comes with what? A trend line. So what do? We wait for market to break the trend line, retest, and moves up. So this trend line, this retest, break and retest can be in two types. Is either we're breaking a trend line and retesting it, or we are breaking a structure and retesting it. Let me make this the structure more clear, right? So we'll have something like this. So this is impulse. Then we'll have correction, right? So market comes to retest a level, then goes above it. So from this structure, this is impulse that break structure, right? This is the correction that forms a trend line. So we only need to connect the first two lines, then draw it straight. So the first two lines are connected, which is the start of the trend. Then some of the lines might actually get to the trend line to touch it, some might not, like all these ones, right? Now you can see we broke above that trend line, closed above it. Then this is the retest. Now on this retest, now this is not retest of trend line, this is retest of structure. So we can have something like this. So retest of structure is when, let's put it this way, You can see this is like equal highs. So if we were to mark this is a significant level because price came to this particular zone twice and sold from there. So this is like a resistance. So market has now broken above that resistance and same time breaking above a trend line. You can see this is like a double confirmation. So whenever you see something like this, it's usually high probability. So market breaking above a trend line and breaking above a key level. Like you can see resistance here. So price retesting this is like this one is structure break plus trend line break. So once you see this, this is like high probability, right? You have an impulse, market corrects, gives you a trend line. You have a break of that trend line and a structural level break, price retest it, and you buy on that retest. So this is where you buy. If you're to buy in this market, buy your targets here and your stop loss at the higher low that actually engineered the break, right? So I want to see if I can look and show you guys some trades that are actually caught with this same method. All right. Now look at this trade here. We had this structure. Price came into a key level here, so I know that we're currently at a key level, right? So and I needed that like change of character. Look at what we have here. We have an impulse correction. I did not catch this move, so it was the second one that was very clear. So we have this impulse correction, then another impulse that broke structure. So this is an indication that price is in an uptrend now. So we had this correction. You can see we made a high, low, high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Now look at, if I'm to mark my trend line, I'll start from here and connect the dots, right? If I start from here, you're seeing, so I have to start with the trend line that actually connects at least three of the dots. If I'm to start from the top here, this is just going to connect two dots, right? And we have more lower, like more lower highs here. So I'm going to start with this one that is going to connect at least three dots for me, right? Start with this. So if I'm to start from here, you can see I have this one touching, and this third one. You can see, so this confirms that this is a trend because price came here and sold, right? Now that I have this, let me clean all of this. So I have a brick here and I have the trend line here. So one touch, second, third, and even the fourth trend line. Now price came into a key level, right? Before we actually broke that trend line. Look at what we were doing. High, low, high, low, then low, high. We'll have this. Then price came here, right? That same point, right? We're supposed to sell from here. This was supposed to, like we've had um this correction here, then an impulse break to the downside. So this is a correction. So this was supposed to push price down. But look at what we did here. We stopped here, selling here to show you that sellers are actually done in this market and buyers have started to come in. So price stopped here because we were respecting this level here. All right, this demand here, and this actually brought in more buyers during New York session. You can see the rally that we got. So we got that momentum. This is a signal that buyers are actually in the market. You can see how we actually broke this trend line, right? So we broke the trend line, and what happened here? Price retested the trend line before we started buying again. And if you look at this, this is also a retest of structure. Look at this level. If you had also, like I said, a trend line break and retest and a structure break and retest happening at the same time is high probability. You can see this is a trend line break and a retest. This is also structure break and retest because if you look at this level, you're going to see that price came here. This was where we had the previous sellers. When price came here, we sold. When price came to that same level, we sold as well, right? So this is like a resistance. This particular level is a resistance level for price because we came there twice and we sold. Now price has broken above it. So price retested that same structure level and we bought. So even if you're to buy with this structure level, you buy at the top where price broke the structure level, your stop loss at the higher low. So this was the higher low that actually engineered the break of the structure level. That is where your stop loss should be, and you target this high, right? So if you want to actually get more target, because targeting this high is like 1:2. If you want to get more targets, I've actually taught Fibonacci, how to use Fibonacci to get your second and even third target. You mark from the swing low to the swing high. All right. So let's say the first target, which is the 0% level, is not meeting your 1:3. If that is what you trade minimum, like me, I trade 1:3 minimum. I can actually target 1 is to the minus 27.86 fib level, which is going to give me that 1:3, or even the minus 61.80% fib level, which if I had targeted, price would have met everything. You can see once price got to this last target, which is the minus 61.8% fib level, you can see that reversal. So sometimes when you like, oh, how did you get that target? That price, the moment price smash your target and it started reversing, this is how you get it. So go and watch that video on Fibonacci. You're going to, I explained all of this and how to customize your fib too, so you can look this way, right? So if you are traded this with this structure break and retest, you would have still won this trade. If you have still waited for, used the trend line break and retest and waited for price to come to this trend line, retest the trend line, putting your stop just above the higher low that actually caused the break of the trend line, that's basically you buying from somewhere here. And this is the retest of the trend line. So this would have actually given you more risk to reward, but if you are to target the 0% level, you would have still won this trade on a 1-6, right? So that's pretty much it on break and retest. All right, so see you guys in the next video. Hope you learned something. So this is what I'm currently looking at on gold. You can see almost same thing. We have similar price action happening on gold currently. We just like we had that impulse here, break, correction, a break of trend line. We also have the same thing here. So you can see this impulse break. So we're gonna have that correction, price comes to a key level, either retesting this trend line or a structure level here. So we'll come to that zone, then we buy again, targeting this high, or we could use our fib retracement tool from the swing low to the swing high, and we can target levels like this, like the minus 27% level and the minus 61.8% level, which is right at 4926.28, and here we have 4838.00. So that is it, and for this video I hope you grab something, and I'll see you guys on day 7.